Hello everyone, Neff here, and today is an important day because today is the first day we have a playable version of what you've known up until now as the Spacey Voxel game, but what is now known as Boscaí, indeed. So yeah, the reason for the name change is that I kind of want, SVG was kind of a working title, and for a long time I kind of wanted like a permanent title, and this is the permanent title now. It's an Irish word, and it's basically, Boscaí is the Irish word for boxes. Just that's simple as that. And as you can see, it's pronounced like Boscaí because, you know, Irish is weird. Yeah, I mean, like, the reason for the Irish name is half because of national pride and all that sort of thing, and half because it's an Irish word, so it's unlikely to be taken in any legal respect, which is nice. So yeah, moving on. Just going to explain some of the changes since the last update. And as well, I should announce the fact that, as I said, today is the first playable version. In the description for this video, you'll find download links for this game, and you can play it right now. Now keep in mind, obviously this is not like a big super duper amazing game that's been worked on for years. This is just a simple game, and currently, like, this is kind of different than like the feature set I've spoken about before. What this game currently is it's a simple, you know, sandbox block building game, similar to other games out there obviously. And it's pretty much no frills, it's just a free game out there, and it's the reason for releasing it now is that, I mean, obviously I've been, you know, dying to release this for a long time. But rather than trying to, you know, work on this for years and kind of like wait until it gets to a certain point, I'm releasing it now in its current state, and then like down the road, if I kind of want to, you know, make something much more complicated, I can take the Boscaí engine and make something from that. I'll probably give it a different name and, you know, call it a separate project. But the idea is that Boscaí itself is just a simple, like, you know, it's the simplest game you can make with the engine, you know? And yeah. So moving on to the actual changes. We have an about screen now as well, explains a bit about the game. Won't read that here. And so create new game. You can see we now have world types. The default is continents. That's very flat. It's good for building, but it's kind of boring. So we're going to go to mountains and go play. And immediately you see we're in the ocean. So a few changes you'll notice. We now actually have water physics, which is nice. So you actually do swim in the water, which is nice. That's kind of a big change from the previous versions. If I sink a bit here, you'll notice underwater now you have a nice underwater effect. So it actually looks like you're a bit underwater, which is kind of cool. And if I fly out of here, and we see the terrain, you just see our basic biomes here, and we got a big savanna one here. And the mountains are kind of steep, so they kind of like ramp up to the clouds. In fact, I'd imagine that desert, yeah, goes up to the clouds. I should also turn up the render distance because it's kind of low. So if I hit escape here and go to our settings, you'll notice we now have a whole bunch of settings. A lot of these are new. And a lot of these can be left alone. A lot of them are just if your game is running really slowly and you want to speed the game up, you can change some settings. Like, you can disable cloud rendering, that'll really speed things up, or you can... Obviously a big one is the render distance. But as well, there's a few other settings that'll affect, you know, the speed. You can adjust VSync. You can set it to be always on or just on in the menus, which is important to stop the menus running at 3000 FPS. So I'd recommend don't disable it, leave it at menus. And we also have these nice tooltips which explain what the things do. So I don't really have to explain this all to you. And the ones with warning are not going to break anything, they're just saying, by the way, keep in mind, this is important. If you don't know what this is, leave it alone. And you can adjust your mouse sensitivity, field of view, which as you can see works while you adjust it, which is kind of cool. Kind of freaky, but kind of cool. It goes all the way up to 120. And we'll leave render distance on large. You can adjust, new physics are now on by default. I would leave them on because they're, you know, better. I'll probably remove the old ones eventually anyway because they're terrible. And yeah. So pretty much that's it. The only interesting setting here is the conservative saving one. It's on by default, and what this basically means is that when you make your game, it won't actually save every chunk it generates, it'll only save the chunks you've modified. So what that means is that the save files will be very, very small, like very small, which is cool. And the only real trade-off is that I was afraid it would cause, you know, it would be slower, but in reality, in my tests, it's kind of the same, so I'd recommend leaving it on. And yeah, so that's the settings. If we get out of that now, you can see the game is pretty much what you've seen before, it's just tweaked a bit. The world gens, I redid the way the seeds are generated, so they're much more random now. But yeah, the world gen can be a bit spastic at times because of that. It hasn't been tested very much. But yeah, I'm just no clipping around. I mean, if you've been, you know, if you've seen the update videos, you pretty much know the story. You know a lot of the game at this stage. Actually, there is one nice thing which I haven't shown you, which I should probably find a nice place to show you, and not this desert. We get our temperate desert and our dry desert. Where was that bit of grass? There we go. Hello, savanna biome. How do you do? I'm just going to fly over here. And we now have a block picker. So if you press Q or E, you get this up, which is nice. You can use either key because I figured people would be used to one or the other. And what this is basically, instead of having to scroll for every damn block, which is annoying, you can just open this up and pick a block here and it'll switch to it, which is nice. So it's kind of like a creative inventory. And just saves you some time. And all the blocks here are labelled and stuff. We have some new ones as well. We have wooden planks, which are nice for flooring. And we have some bricks. Because everyone likes to build houses. And you usually need bricks for houses. Yeah. And yeah, I did a bit of work on the textures, so hopefully not terrible. But you know, it can be hard to tell sometimes. But yeah guys, I mean, as I said, if you've seen the update videos, you know the story, you know the game. And if you're new and you haven't seen the update videos, then go back and watch them. No, I'm just kidding. It's a pretty simple game, to be honest. It doesn't need much explanation. But yeah, so as I've said, like, a lot of people will wonder why I'm putting this out now. We know it's so simple. But at the same time, like, it is a free game, so like, there's no charge or anything, and it's probably always going to be a free game. You can just grab it now, it's only a few megabytes. In fact, the game is under a megabyte, which is ridiculous. And you can just download it and play it for free, and there's no issues. And it seems to work fine. I mean, I haven't really had any kind of major crash bugs or anything, which is nice. And my friends have tested it, they've all said it works fine as well, so yeah. With any luck, it's all good. And yeah, so guys, one last thing, of course, if I go back to the main menu, you'll notice we now have a subreddit, which is reddit.com/r/Boscaí. And if you have any suggestions or feedback, please post it there, or just, you know, feature requests. And, you know, if you build anything in the game that you think is cool or just want to show stuff off, take screenshots, post them there, because I would love to see them. You know, I've worked on this for a long time, and sometimes it's great to see people actually, like, you know, using what you've made. So that would be cool. So yeah, that's pretty much it for today, guys. So download the game, have fun, hopefully it's not terrible, and yeah, and good day!